So, as mentioned earlier, the people of Israel didn't know that they were kings. God had made them priests and kings, even whilst walking in the wilderness. It's not just because of any, but because it's a covenant from their fathers unto them. Now, when they have settled, they went to God like, we want a king. According to First Samuel 10, we want a king for ourselves, like other nations. Really? God said, you are kings and priests. That I want to be your own king. I'm all wise king, immortal, invincible. I want to be everything to you people. Now you are coming here to look for a king, a mortal king, instead of myself, who is a master planner, master architect. I'm always using the architect because we are doing it in relation to building a kingdom, right? Having the wisdom, having the know-how, knowing everything, the present, the future, and even the past, knowing your roots. I am the perfect and the great king you can never have. But these people were insistent. We just want a king like other nations. This is the problem. This has been our downfall from ages past. When we want things for ourselves. In this kingdom, one man of God said, owners are rebels. Anytime you are building a kingdom and you think you want things for yourself, that is when you miss it. It is in the nature of our king not to be selfish. Building a kingdom sometimes could take the life of kings. And as believers, our kingdom could take the life of the only beloved son of this God. Kingdoms are built on sacrifices. Kingdoms are built on covenants. Kingdoms are built on oaths. Kingdoms are built on great secrets. And in fact, no kingdom will ever reveal their secrets, because that keeps them stronger. Now, the master, the sovereign ruler of the earth, who was the king of the Israelites because of covenant, not forgetting that the Israelite came out of the Hebrew man, Abraham, and his covenant has run through generations unto them. And the covenant he made with them is, I will make you father of many nations. I will make you. I will make you. The king has the power of making. I normally use the term, the king honors you, the king bless you, because I understand it very well. When the king says yes, nobody would ever say no. Even when the son, the best of persons around him, misbehaves, it cannot be retracted. And that is why the queen, Vashti, was demoted out of his place, because he went over. Sometimes, how powerful the words of a king is, even he himself It is strange that even he himself, his words can demote him because he's standing on a certain throne, which I said earlier that mostly is the exalted place of the kingdom. Now, Jesus has been the sacrifice. Abraham trying to sacrifice, I'm not saying trying. If I say trying, then I didn't do it well because the sacrifice really happened.
Right.
Isaac was sacrificed.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Because it started from the heart.
Mm-hmm.
It started with obedience to the voice of the king.
Mm.
So Isaac was sacrificed. And that is that relation between us and the Father, establishing a kingdom on the death of his only begotten Son.
Okay.
When the wall of Jericho fell, Joshua said, any king who dares rebuild this wall will use his firstborn as the seal or the seed. And it really happened. So kingdoms are founded on sacrifices. And that means it is valid for Christianity, which people say religion, of which is not, but a kingdom, of which is not, but a relationship between a king and his subordinates, a relationship between a king and his sons and other kings ruling a certain system. I think I should get a full time for kingdom, explaining the kingdom itself, because I think if I explain the kingdom, it will make us even know much about the king, how exalted the king is. Because you are talking about king, we have chiefs. Yeah, we can have chiefs, paramount chiefs, and whatever. In Africa, here we can talk about chiefs, elders, regents, and whatever. But when we talk about king, we are talking about a man of stature, a man who rules both spiritual and physical realm of a territory. They are not just natural men. No. They are people who understood systems. We can't talk. You see, talking about Pharaoh, we know Pharaoh is a king, right?
Yes.
And if you really read history, you get to know that they term Pharaoh as demigod, half human, half God, because he controlled a system. He controlled a system, both spiritual and the natural. Our God is a king, knowing the future today and our yesterday. Being a master architect, he knows what happened yesterday, how it can fit into today and tomorrow. We cannot build this kingdom without this master architect. It is believed that even Pharaoh was a man and a king. It is believed he was a demigod. That is their understanding, because he controlled both the natural and the physical atmosphere of Israel. And as I told you earlier, there's nothing new under the sun. Anything man is doing is as a result of an inspiration or an idea from the master architect who wants to continue his creation on earth. And therefore, we cannot build anything meaningful, sustaining, powerful without him. In this our realm here, you cannot get a land and build without the king. In Africa here, without the king's consent, you won't have a land. No plot allocation because he had the city or his territories mapped with him. And his council of elders know where to allocate or give everyone a land to build because they have a plan for the city or that kingdom. The same thing that applies to our God because this idea men had was as a result of the master planner or architect giving such an inspiration to such one here on earth. So in this kingdom, we cannot do anything without the master architect or planner. He has a direction. He is leading his community or his kingdom. He has a direction. He has a plan. Already laid down plan. So Paul will say there is no other foundation any man can lay except Christ. No other foundation. You cannot do anything. If anything you are doing is not from the master architect, you will know that it will not last. It will not last. Before you realize it has gone down the drain because it's not part of the original idea of the master. And because of his infallibility, there is no two ways about anything. Knowing the end from the beginning makes him the sovereign one. Like whatever he gives, it cannot fail. And therefore, if any man want to be relevant in this kingdom, then he must hold on to the king. Whether physical, spiritual, because he controls all the climate of the kingdom. He has an idea. And that's why the book of Revelation will even describe Jesus as the Lamb who was slain before the foundation of the world. Before everything has been written. David will talk about it in the Psalms. You knew me from the beginning, from even conception. Everything was written in your books. Everything at all has been drawn. And therefore, I'll tell every wise person that if you want to be relevant on this earth, go to him. Let him reveal to you the archives, the scroll of your life. Because as a master architect, he has everything jotted down. He has everything written. He has everything inscribed. And therefore, before you start building your multi-million company, before you start that big thing, my sister, my brother, before that ministry, before that outreach, before whatever good intention you have for men, for the kingdom, make sure the king approves of it. And the king is that which stirred up in you what you want to do. Else it will not last.
Okay. So, Asaf, you've shared a lot of things. I'm taking notes myself because there are different things that you've brought out about the king that I believe that it's so powerful and like just work. One of the things you said was that the words of the king can even demote him. Like what he says, nobody can go and change it. And I think even with how you brought in Vashti, that people will say, yes, the king was drunk at the time, or like he was not in a place to give any instructions, and so it made sense for Vashti to just disobey, but it cost her something. And that
Mm,
tells us how the words of the king. So even what you are saying about like thrones, like sometimes we
mm,
even respect the thrones more than the
mhm,
king because kings come and go. Like it wasn't
mhm,
even so much about the man in that moment. It
mm.
was the fact that he was the king. And so if
Yeah.
whether he was drunk, whether he was mad or whatever,
Mm,
the fact that
mm,
he was still on the throne in that time, whatever he said called for
mm.
our obedience. And
Sure.
so, and I feel like even as Christians, that's how sometimes
Mm,
we've cut ourselves from certain things of God or certain places that God wanted us to be because of disobedience. It's
sure.
like the king says to do this, and then we choose to do it on our own terms, or we choose not even to abide. And I think it's in Proverbs that says that the wrath of the king is death.
Mm,
And when we think about even death, death, as explained in Genesis, is like separation from God. So it's like when the king's words are disobeyed, or when he realizes that the people are around him are disobeying his words, what he wants to
mm.
do is kill them. In other words, separate them from
Them.
himself.
Mm,
And that's how many people have been separated from kings or people that could have been their destiny helpers because there was no
mm,
obedience to their words. And
mm,
so, yeah, everything you're sharing is very, very. And you said one thing that you also said was that kingdoms are built on sacrifices.
mm.
That's like a big one. Like kingdoms are built on sacrifices. Like if you don't know the sacrifice that went into making that kingdom stand, don't just talk about it anyhow you want.
Mm, mm,
And I feel like I'm just even thinking about how, sometimes a young girl may fall in love with a man, and then people will be like, this man is so like, he's worth nothing. This, like, everybody sees the man and you're like, this should not be the man you settle with. And you don't know why
mm,
the lady is still there because
mm, mm,
sacrifice that has established him as a king over that lady. So
mm.
let that man be drinking. So there are cases like that. Like you look at a
Yeah.
certain man and a woman, you're like, why is this person still with this person? When they maltreat
Mm,
them, they do bad things to them and all that.
mm.
But you don't know the sacrifice that has made that person a
And go.
king
Mm,
in that woman's life.
mm,
It's really
mm.
between the two of them. You can never understand the sacrifice that went on for that.
Sure.
They've just established themselves as a king.
Mm. Just beautiful. I'm just enjoying the conversation.
I'm
Mm.
taking notes, I'm learning.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, there are many
Mm,
things, but I think I'll let you continue.
mm. I just wish I I finished the direction where the Israelites were trying to get a king for themselves,
Mm,
a mortal man to be their king. Many a times in the kingdom, when we are serving, most of us are serving, and the reason why they are serving is that they'll be seen by a man
mm,
they need favor from. They'll be seen by someone they want to actually be blessed with or blessed for whatever they are doing, not knowing what God has for them.
mm,
You see, a season will come in your life when you don't know what is actually in the scripts of the king, the master architect, and you are doing everything right, and yet no man is seeing you. Nobody even is trying to help you. And like, oh, Is this God alive? Meanwhile, you are not looking up to the king. You are not looking to him as a king. Hmm. I think believers should come to understand the very names of God and how you relate to God. In what capacity do you relate to God? There is a realm you relate to him as a king, a realm you relate to him as a father, realm you relate to him as your God. But if you are talking to him as a king today, if you are talking about him as a king today, then you should know that you cannot forego his word. Forgoing his word can lead to death, as the woman of God said earlier. We are not talking about God as a father today, where there is room for mistakes. We are not talking to God. We are not talking about him as any other, but we are talking to him as a king. And the king's major responsibility is instilling discipline in his territory, moral discipline, even military rule. Because mostly the king is the commander-in-chief of his military. And mostly, what makes a king in many regimes is the wisdom for justice. What established the kingship of Solomon was his wisdom for justice. Today, I just wish that I'm able to systematically share. But anyway it goes, let's pick it from there. If you really want to see him as a king who is the foundation, or who is helping us build a kingdom, or who is the embodiment of the kingdom's rule, then we should be willing to go by his dictates. You don't have a plan, me, I have a plan to do this. It's a good intent. Yes, although you may have good intention, but what is the verdict of the king? What does he command? What is he commanding you to do? That is what builds the kingdom. A kingdom is not ruled by democracy. Democracy doesn't build a kingdom.
The way we love democracy here,
Hey,
it's not a joke.
we can't use democracy to rule a kingdom. In fact, you have no power over the king. You dare not. And that's how believers want to build the kingdom now. And that is killing us. That's how we see a kingdom devoid of power. Kingdoms collapsing now. People starting to say, because they are not going by the dictates of the king. They want to do what pleases them, what they think is good. And that's what I want to emphasize so much in this dispensation. It is not about good intention. It is not about good intention. It's about what the king demands of you.